So, walking stance middle punch. Nice and easy. The most basic move in Taekwondo is certainly the one that we see most of all in patterns. Now, obviously, we talked about walking stance straight on with this foot 25 degrees off with the back foot, 1.5 shoulder width long, 1 shoulder width wide, 50-50 weight distribution. Nice and easy, but let's talk about the punch as well. Here, so finishing position should be one fist below shoulder level. So this top hand at my shoulder height, just straight out here, and the hand straight underneath. We're punching with the front two knuckles. Here, what's called the forefist, and the center of the forefist is on my center line, nice and easy. Now when we're coming through, make sure there's a natural rotation of the hips, but we're not overdoing it, okay? So we're right side forward. You see, I allow myself natural rotation, but I'm not putting too much into it. So I'm not trying to come through here. If you end up doing that, what will happen is your shoulders will not be flat, okay? You should be full facing with the shoulders, keep your chest upright, and then your weight will be over your hips, and you'll have perfect 50-50 distribution. If you're pushing your arm through towards the end, generally you're trying to force it. You're trying to put too much force in by itself artificially, and not allowing the flow to come through, and not allowing nice snappy amount of speed. You won't find yourself balanced, you'll be overextending here, you'll be losing all the force that you have from your lower body because you're kind of breaking this kinetic chain all the way up from your legs, through your hips and into your shoulders. We also have a low outer forearm block, so in the pattern it looks something like this. Here. I'll do it coming straight forwards, but the principles are the same. Refer to the sine wave movement to kind of get used to the changes between coming forwards and rotating. So, chamber position is on the opposite chest line, which means if we're doing a left hand side low outer forearm block, the hands are crossing over the right chest here, and it's at solar plexus height. So we're chambering here, and we're dropping into the block. So a general rule for Taekwondo is if the block ends up high or middle, then the chamber will be high. If the block ends up low, then it will be a middle chamber. Okay, this follows that. Here, don't chamber too high. When you're coming through, make sure the top hand is on top of the rear hand and the wrists are back to back before you deliver here. Don't forget, of course, as much as I'm demonstrating where the chamber position is, we don't hold the chamber position. When we're coming through, we hold the neutral position, and as we step up, our hands will come to the chamber position and they will deliver through. Here. The final position, a low outer forearm block, you'll see the edge of the fist is on the center line, but the outer forearm, which is this part of your arm here, ends up on your chest line. Here, remember, level with your ears with the side of your head. So when you're doing a low knife hand block, essentially what you do is a low outer forearm block, and then you're going to change the position. Okay, so obviously the position changes because we're using a different blocking tool. Outer forearm is here, knife hand is here. Remember, you're not attacking with the fingers, you're attacking with the side of the hand. Okay, so whereas before the outer forearm is on my chest line, the knife hand now must be on my chest line, which means the fingertips are on the center here. We shift ourselves across. The other thing that changes is the angle of the arm. Generally, we're bending it 30 degrees from straight out, or if you're in this position, it's coming 60 degrees from straight out, or you can consider it 30 degrees from 90, but 30 degrees is the angle that we generally bend a block. However, we're going to have to bend this a little bit more because we don't want it extending too far. You're not extending your fingers out and pushing it down here, so you bring it a little bit closer to yourself than you might think it is. Now when we're using outer forearm block, we're looking to be doing significant damage. It's a hard blocking tool. We don't take any force off when we're using knife hand, but it's coming to a more critical area. So for example, the application of this is generally blocking a front kick. When you're using a low outer forearm block, then you'll be crushing, you'll be aiming to break the shins or do damage to the shins, whereas when you're using a knife hand, you'll be looking to get in all the joints that are on the top of the foot here. The final technique is an inner forearm middle block through here. So when we finish, the top of the hand is level with the top of the shoulder, which should put the inner forearm approximately level with your solar plexus. The inner forearm is on the shoulder line. Remember, that's the one that goes under the armpit here. Okay? When you're chambering, make sure both palms are facing away from the body, you're going in the same direction, and the hand that's about to block is the one that's underneath. So if you're going through, stepping through with your right leg, it's the right hand that comes through underneath. You don't need to put your palms facing outwards, keep them nice and relaxed through the technique. Okay? When you're chambering, just remember ear height. So that tells us that we're outside the body lines. We're not on shoulder line, we're not on chest line, not on center line, anything like that. We're outside the body lines, and it gives you the height as well. So a high section here, and we're dropping down into it. There's a slight natural rotation of the hips, but again, don't let yourself come through here. If you're doing that, generally what will happen is you'll windscreen wipe in with your elbow. You want to make sure your elbow comes through and it locks itself in place, and then it's only this final rotation this way with the inner forearm that's going to do the block. Okay? None of this. Don't like that. Remember also, your hips are going to be full facing at the end of the technique.